Hey, this is Susie J. Cobwebs, and today I thought I'd do a little quick video on how your creative mind really works as an author or as a writer. This video is going to establish the different aspects of reality that a creative writer actually goes through, or how the creative mind really works so we could use it to our benefit. I enjoy writing, and I hope to inspire others to do the same. This is their escape, even if it's for 5 minutes or even if it's for 5 hours. This actually is something simple that you could engage with your mind and to get your thoughts out on paper. I know that a lot of people say that, oh, I don't have a creative mind, and they can't come up with quick things that, that can have a story together and plots and subplots, and they just can't write a story, but they want to write. Well, I know that there are people out there that feel that they don't have a creative mind and that they don't feel that they could conjure up a plot, a subplot, or a quick story in their head that they could possibly write on paper. This is actually including the dialogue, the description, just certain details. Well, you get the picture. But the fact of the matter is, don't think of this as a huge novel. This is what you want to accomplish, but don't think of it as such a huge feat that you have to do. Think of it as baby steps. Here is what I did. And my novel is now out in bookstores. It is called Betrayal in the First Degree. It is the first book of the 4-book series. So these dreams do come true, and I feel that when I started writing this, did I think it was going to be a novel? Absolutely not. This was only supposed to be an assignment that I did for college, and when I started writing it and I started making more of the characters and the description and the plots and the subplots and dialogue, well, you get the picture, that it had a mind of its own. Now, this book here is now a 4-book series. This book is the first book, Betrayal in the First Degree, by Susie J. Cobwebs. So make sure you get a copy of it. It's in Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Reader House, Page Publishing, so you can get this anywhere. This is a young adult easy read, and the best way that I can try to explain how this book is, it's a hit and run with a historical twist. And the one thing that I have learned from my novel is that I know that the second one is going to be better. This is the mindset that I needed to give myself time for it to happen. Patience is going to be your best friend and also enemy. Let's just throw that out there. Now, you don't want to rush into your next book. You want to give that the same type of blossoming moments that you did for your first book, but you don't want to have your fans waiting years upon years to get that second book. And you basically want to make it as best as you can for is the least amount of time that you can do it. I know that sounds a little bit tough, but I know that you can do it. Now, on my YouTube channel, you are going to see fictional writing sprints. Now, fictional writing sprints are the second Wednesday of every month, and they are actually the starting, the beginning part of writing a book. And you will see other videos on my channel about writing and how I started and how I got to where I am. So I hope that you get onto this journey of my building blocks of building this brand of my writing journey. Now, as I'm going back to my fictional writing sprints, this is something that I have got 3 things out of my box, and once you actually go onto those things that you'll understand that. And then we will sit here and we will write for 5 minutes. Now, even after those 5 minutes, and you think that this is going to be maybe something that could potentially have the resources and the interest of some of your readers, you want to pursue this type of book, or you think this could potentially be a book, by all means, keep at it, keep working at it, keep hitting that grind and making sure that you are going to constantly write and rewrite all the descriptions and the conflicts and the subplots and the plots and the dialogues and the whatever else. And this is going to help you in the long run. You are going to have blood, sweat, tears, everything. Believe me, I know. I've been there. And if you ask any other author, they have been there also, and probably still continuing because they are also writing their next novel. If you notice on my channel that there are writing sprints to a better health, those will also help you out into your writing journey. Now, those are 5-minute writing sprints, and they are more journal writing. Now, I have picked a prompt that we talk about the last Wednesday of every month, and we will sit here and we will write about it for 5 minutes. Unfortunately, I don't talk about it afterwards because you feel that that is a little bit more personal, and maybe you don't want to talk about what could potentially be wrong, right? Even though we don't have wrong or right answers in this particular prompt, this is something that will make you feel better inside. Even when you are having a bad day, you can actually go back into your notebook that you've written all of these writing sprints to a better health, and maybe it might make your day a little bit better, or it may strike up something else or make you add something else into your notebook that makes you feel happy. So a lot of these are all writing effects that will help you get to your goal of writing your novel. And basically, if you don't want to go on to the playlist that I have, which I would highly recommend, but if you don't want to do that, just pick something out of thin air and just start writing about it and describing it. And then do something else. And do that for maybe 4 or 5 different things that you have written and you have described. And then after you've got to that, then try to put it together into maybe a conflict. How did this happen? How did that happen? What are the questions that you're going to ask when this particular thing is not going to go with this other thing? So it's just a matter of trying to put these things together to make your own story sound more real or normal. I understand there's a lot of fictional writers out there that like sci-fi and fantasy and horror, and obviously you know that those aren't real, but how are you going to put these 4 said things together? The one thing that I have heard, and this is really just excuses if it's you're asking for my opinion, people would say, oh, I just want to be a writer, but I don't know what to write. I don't know what to write about. Or I have writer's block. I think these are just excuses for not writing. You want the label of being a writer, but you don't want to have the act of writing. Nor are you going to be an author at this point if you are not writing. Just this alone, when I am scripting this video and when I am filming this video, I can come up with 4 different ideas of how I can make this better, how I can make this more creative, and maybe I can add this to my next book, or maybe I can add this to another book. So it's just a constant flow of creative juices that are going on in your head, regardless of what you are doing at this moment. And what I like about this is not really like a 7-hour event. Whenever you think that you're not going to write and you're not going to do this, I could be sitting there watching a movie. I could be sitting there taking a walk. I could be doing the dishes, sitting there listening to music. And then something will come into my head. I will just jot it down because, you know what, we all know, because people can sometimes be forgetful. And by the time that you would sit back down at your computer and you would forget, but I've written this down. So by the time I get back to my computer, I will notice that I wrote this and I'm thinking, okay, well, how did I write this and why did I write this? Oh, well, yeah, that'll come back into my head and then we will be great. So that is something that you just have to kind of get used to when you want to start creating your creative juices and they get them flowing. What I have done also is I have gotten a notebook, and it's just a random notebook, nothing fancy. I got it up at the dollar store, and I'll just write notes in here, or I can sit in the living room as I'm watching TV and I will jot down something, and I may not be able to get to it right at this exact second to my computer. I may not even know what book it's actually going to go into, but I know I'm going to use this paragraph or this page or two of what I've just written in one of my books. So I'm just going to put it off to the side after I've written it and I've brain dumped, or another word that you can use is brainstorm, out of your mind. So then when you are ready to transcribe it into the computer, to that particular folder of that particular book that you want to write, then you'll have one step closer that book being in a part of a rough draft. You know, the one thing that I thought was kind of funny, when I was in college, I became into the medical field. And one of the things that they have drilled into our heads was documentation. Now, if you are in the medical field, you can understand this. So if it wasn't documented, it didn't happen. So I use that same type of theory when I'm doing these notes or pictures or whatever it's going to do. Because if I don't have it whenever I'm at my computer, it didn't happen. And so then I'd have to try to figure out what I need to do to get my book or chapter or page to that next level. So the question is, are you a reader or are you a writer? Can you comment that down below? Speaking of producing a novel, I know that there is a lot of writers out there that have their own way of producing or writing their own novel. So I'm not saying that my way is set in stone. You have to find out what makes you feel more comfortable in how you can produce your book. There's other people that are plotters, they're pantsers, they're plancers. We're going to go over them in a lot of other different videos, but these are different ways that you feel more comfortable in writing your book. So in the summary of this, of all my rambling of this video, the concept is, if you want to write, write. Sit down, take a piece of paper, get a pen, pencil, crayon if you want, or if you want to use your computer and just brain dump and then just keep adding on to this until you can be able to make a first draft and then get into the editing stages. Because you got to remember, when I wrote this first book, this is not my first draft. If this was my first draft, this would have been done a gazillion years ago. I have had the first draft. I have went over it 752 times to make it the best that I can make it. So don't get discouraged and just keep writing. If you like these videos and you want to see more of these videos, by all means, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that post notification button so you can stay on top of all the different things that I post. And to the next time, Love you bunches.